This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. It is definitely not a good day in the United States of America. Yep, they shot down Charlie Kirk. Assassinated him in Utah at some college. Anyway, this is the violence we're dealing with, people. I mean, what they want to do to him, they want to do to all of us. This liberal mindset, this mental illness that has allowed to progress like this. Anyway, I guess the shooter got away. Looks like he may have been an assassin stationed on top of a roof at one of the campus buildings. Anyway, the guy who got arrested with his pants down, I don't know, that's not bad. I guess I should wait for some people to show up. But anyway, one thing about this channel, this stuff is going on. You think I'm going to cower down? What my content I have on this platform, I tell people now, even my moderators, have you ever been arrested? For what? For what? Doing what a patriot did to form this country? If I got to stand in fear, this Marine will never do that. Okay, I won't stand in fear in front of my enemy. It's not going to happen. And, a lot of government. All I know is the guy had, 2 children, young children and a wife, had a family, wasn't doing nothing but standing up to some retarded college kids. And this is my take on it. I'll bet you that this was done by one college student that he had embarrassed at one of his previous engagements. That's who I would look at. Somebody who's probably doesn't know what they got between their legs and want to change it. But, sad day for America. We had the woman in North Carolina, in Charlotte, that got stabbed in the neck. I got that white girl. But it's not racist. I mean, how much more of this do you think we're going to take? See, this country's at war. For many years, terrorists were at war with this country, but Americans didn't know it. I knew it. I dealt with it back in the 80s and stuff. I knew the terrorists were at war with us, and I knew eventually they'd be able to attack us on our own soil. So was I surprised when it happened? No. But guess what? What happened that day? Americans woke up and realized, oh, we're at war with the terrorists. It took 9/11 for that to happen. Something I had known for 15 years. Okay? And we're dealing with now, people are waking up in this country because of Charlie Kirk that, we are at war. We have to eradicate this cancer in our country. I mean, now they're not just another reason. Well, let's see, since it was Charlie Kirk, they probably won't scream gun control, will they? But like I say, we're all targets to these people. Liberals, even though the extreme liberals is just a small minority of our population. A lot of them are extremely unstable. They suffer from mental illness. They're all on antipsychotics and antidepressants and stuff like that. Stuff to alter their moods and stuff. Okay? They suffer from mental illness. Flat out. That doesn't... Anyway. Sad day. Memory from the past. You're absolutely right. Memory from the past. I like that. The thing is, what I wanted to do my video on tonight, what I wanted to do my live stream on tonight? I wanted to do how we all felt on September 10th, 2001. That's what I wanted to make my live stream on tonight. How we all felt free and different, how life was different the day before, the world stopped spinning. I tell you what, it's bad. And this is the thing. If you think like have the American spirit in you, the culture that created this country, it doesn't matter what your color or race are, okay? You're on the chopping block. Your color or your race is not going to save you. If you believe in God, you believe in the Constitution, you believe in making your neighborhood better and our country better and making it prosper. So, you know, the only best thing to help your children out is to make sure that they inherited something better than what you got, especially your country. You're on the chopping block. But yeah, it's a sad day. I mean, I knew as soon as I turned on my phone, right? And I go hit this short. I can't believe YouTube put that on there. Of him taking that bullet. I mean, we weren't allowed to see, what was it? Osama bin Laden after he got killed, right? Because it was too graphic. And YouTube goes and puts this on. So now, you know the memes they're going to make out of this shit? The other side? They get to dance around and celebrate now. No, my opinion, no, weapons must not be banned because then you have the government doing this, sir. Okay, I tell you what, I carried a weapon in the Marine Corps to protect my country. And now I'll carry a weapon in my country to protect myself all day long. You know, the founding fathers, like I say, if you understand why the Constitution was written the way it was, you have to put your mind in the contents of our founding fathers. After they had just thrown off tyrannical government that was doing this shit. The thing is, everybody needs to be armed. So when some stupid ass son of a bitch does that, he's dead before he gets 10 feet with 40 bullets in his ass. That's what needs to happen. You don't protect yourself by becoming a victim because the criminals are always going to get the weapons. You know, over there in England, you're not even allowed to carry a bladed weapon. Guns are illegal. People are killing each other with blades. And that 14-year-old girl that sits there pulls a hatchet and a blade to protect herself, well, of course, from a, you know, the Aloha snack bar person, she gets charged. Well, I guess he got charged too now, but, you know, are they going to deport the shit? For yourself. You know, Switzerland, everybody's required to have a gun. Everybody's required to be in the military. And they still have drugs and stuff in that country, and they just don't seem to have the problem we have. Guns aren't the problem. Mental illness is the problem. If they don't have a tool like a gun to do their dastardly deed, they'll just use something else. Use their car. Are we going to outlaw cars? I'd love to go back to the horse and buggy, but I'll never get my way. But yeah, they should outlaw cars. Tom, what makes you so sure Kirk was taken down by a Dem and you saw? Okay, Strictly Second, am I allowed to be wrong? We'll see. Apologize. But, you know, there's a pattern being formed. Okay? You never did intelligence gathering, Strictly Cycling. Let's not go there. Boss, phone is lagging. Oh, I know. Because the last thing they want is the word getting out. You know, somebody else's opinion. All I know is they're celebrating now. No, I didn't say a Democrat either. I said a transgender, liberal retard. I got a little bit more specific than Democrat. I'll get that right, too. I said a transgender, liberal, mentally insane fruitcake, like the one that shot up Minnesota. Same situation. Like I say, but I'll even go further than that. Somebody that Charlie Kirk embarrassed publicly at one of his events. We'll see. I don't know. Boy, that's that's like betting the house. Okay. That's a lot of detail. I'm sure if that came true, they'd probably be at my door asking, how did you know all that? But that would be my guess. because he sat there and would flat out embarrass these transgender guys that would get up there and think they were smarter than him. It never worked, did it? Anyway, whoever it was 200 yards. Yeah, they said he was on top of a building. I don't know strictly cycling, but like I say, you live in New York. I mean, I don't know how you differentiate, how you can tell how a person politically thinks in that city. I talked to somebody from Philadelphia once, and he's telling me how they could just look at somebody and tell what their national background, even if they're white. He told me so much stuff that I wouldn't even look at somebody and try to even figure this shit out. But he just knew by looking at somebody, all the differences that was between him and that person. And maybe you got people in the city got a way of communicating that without being dangerous. But, I know I'm not going to become a victim. Yeah, I don't quite understand that question, strictly cycling, that comment you did. But see, this is the thing. I won't be arrested. I haven't done nothing wrong. I know this country's at war. And I know that I have come down on the Biden administration just as bad I'm coming down on the Trump. All right? But let's get out there. I can't be afraid of somebody showing up at my door. That totally goes against my grain. I'm not going to be afraid. If I got to sacrifice my life for what's right to better my children and my grandchildren's life, I was ready to do that to better the average American's life that I didn't even know before I had kids and grandkids. I think the shooter was conservative, probably, who was pissed about Kirk helping. I know, I was thinking it. No, see, a conservative, yeah. But we're not unhinged. Jeepers cripes, if I was didn't have all my wasn't in control of myself, vets can be really fucking dangerous. But we're not, because we have control. And that's one thing a conservative is showing over time. I mean, we put up with Biden for 4 years, and we didn't take a shot at him, right? No, we didn't. What political official, when Biden was in office, besides Donald Trump, got shot at and took a bullet? Which one? Which one again? Besides Donald Trump? Anybody? You ever see let's not turn this into a political thing. A man died today because mental illness isn't corrected in this country, because we got division in this country so fucking bad that people are willing to take down a father or two and a husband just because he may have said something that they disagree with. That's the problem in this country. So how do we fix it? Last thing we do is we're going to report the facts. Like I say, we'll see if I'm wrong about what the shooter was. We'll see. But I knew it was a college kid right away. And he ran away on the rooftop. That wasn't no old man who was caught with his pants down. He was probably, I'm not even going to go into what he could have been. But, well, like Republicans always say after a shooting, thoughts and prayers, even thoughts and prayers aren't stopping the shooting. I know. Prayers go out to the family. I mean, it's bad enough losing somebody you care about, but when you lose somebody, you want to shrink into your own little world, not hear about it. And that's all that's going to be on the news for the next week. Just like the Austin Metcalf thing and the Carmelo Anthony. In the news all the time. His parents were never allowed to grieve. But this is getting out of control, people. This ain't people like you and I who go to work every day. We got too much stuff to do. Yeah, we get upset with the system, but we know we need to go back to still do our part in making sure the whole system don't fall apart. But I still believe it's time to do something to end this shit. I mean, everybody can sit there and talk all fine because they're not victimized today. Okay? Well, 2 little kids and a wife have been victimized today. All because her husband stood up to it. Yeah, the E-files. I didn't agree with that. If you want to go there, strictly cycling, since I didn't agree with that, you know how dead set against I am of that shit. How come I didn't lose my cool if there was something over that? How come I wasn't the one that did it? And you've seen a lot of my videos on how I feel about the no list shit, the hoax. I've voiced my opinion about that in shorts and live streams and videos, like I say. But that's a disagreement. I disagreed with Obama. We needed a civil war back then. You know? I disagree with a lot of politicians, but like I say, I don't think they need to be killed. I think they need to be arrested, tried, put in a prison that surrounds a mountain, and they're given tack hammers to turn that mountain into dust. 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. That's how I feel they should be treated. Death is too goddamn good for them. They need to be punished down here too. Believe me, I want no violence to come to them at all. I want them to enjoy many years of repentance. You know, they always say when life is the worst, that's when you're supposed to repent. Well, we'll see if they learned that. But anyway, I'm just saying, we're not unstable. We understand that. We understand what the problem is. And when it comes time for the vets to protest, this problem will get solved. Okay? A lot of problems are going to get solved. When this country starts fighting amongst itself, all this illegal immigration is going to go away because they ain't going to want to get caught in the crossfire. What do you expect out of this? You know, the white woman, Ukrainian woman, that was just terrible. Just attacked for being, I got that white girl. Everybody just stood and watched, didn't do anything. Just imagine on that train if somebody would have had a gun and was able to get it out of his holster as that guy was coming up to stab the first time. What would have happened? A bad guy would have died and an innocent girl who just got out of the pizzeria would have lived. This is what Charlie Kirk was trying to communicate to people. This is what happens when you bring out the truth. Am I going to have an assassin out here? I highly doubt it. Yeah, what happened is so sad, I know. I hope you're safe, G99. I hope you're safe, Amanda. I hope you're armed every time you go out. Carry that freaking gun with you. There was a story in Minnesota when I was up there, right? This grandma got pulled over by a state trooper. I don't know what she was doing, but anyway, she had a gun in the seat of her car. And the cop goes, can you carry that? And she goes, yeah. She showed her. Goes, you got any other guns? She goes in her console, pulls out another gun. And she goes, you got any more? And she goes in the glove box, pulls out another one. He goes, what are you afraid of? She goes, not a goddamn thing. You know what hurts the worst? I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube, a lot of World War II stuff. And I've been getting into these memoirs of German and Japanese prisoners of war that came to this country after they had been captured and put in our prisoner of war camps. We had like, between all the, anyway, we had Italian, Hungarian, mainly German, and some Japanese. Anyway, and they're talking about their experiences. The propaganda they had heard about them. I'm getting to the point of this. Just listen. You're going to have to hear me out about this. But these were people that were told monstrous things about the United States. Terrible, terrible lies for their countries to get them to hate them, to go to war with them. See, this is one thing in the military they teach you to do. And they teach you very goddamn well. They teach you to hate. Number one thing, they teach you to hate the enemy. What do you think all those chants outside when you're running and stuff and you're doing all those songs and chants you're doing? But anyway, the Germans and the Japanese, the Hungarians called our POW camps paradise on earth compared to what they were used to. Prison camp was paradise on earth compared to what they were used to. Okay? But anyway, these prisoners come here expecting to be tortured, malnourished, beaten, and eventually killed. Okay, and as soon as they get captured, to their surprise, before they even get on the transports or anything, come over to the United States, they get medical treatment. They get the same rations that the soldiers are eating. And these are people that, there's this fun story about this Japanese airman after the Marianas Turkey shoot got shot down. And 4 hours later, he's on the deck of, I can't remember what carrier it was, right offhand. But anyway, he's in the chow, he said he got on there. The medic looked at him, treated his wounds, and gave him some morphine for pain. And then they marched him into the chow line right away. And he said he looked at his plate, and it was more food on his plate than his squadron altogether had seen in a week. And then they ushered him to the ice cream, the dessert. And they asked him chocolate or vanilla or chocolate. And he said that was something that stuck with him forever. And then he knew right away that there's no way Japan could ever beat America. By the way, these people came over to the United States, treated humanely. Humanely, not like our POWs were treated, especially from Japan. And they experienced what it was like to be treated like a human in a humane way. They said they were treated better than their own officers treated them, saying they couldn't believe that a country, they go and work out, when they started working out in the fields and stuff, and they'd hear farmers talking, the Japanese a lot more up north, but anyway, start talking about how they said one kid was in Saipan, and the other one was in the Marianas, where the farmers are talking, right? And he's listening to this. And he said he couldn't believe that this was the same man that would sit there and give him bread when he was hungry and pat him on the back at the end of the day and tell him he did a good job. They always said, if they treat us prisoners of war like this, how do they treat their own people? To the point where they left, when it was time to leave, I guarantee you the Americans that were leaving Germany and Japan's POW camps were excited to come home. A lot of our prisoners of war that spent time in this country, they didn't have that feeling. The ones in Japan, they were knowing they were going back to a country that was destroyed. He said, the one memoir I was listening to talks about when he got off the ship in Japan, he's plumping stuff. They had been eating good for 2.5 years. A lot of them put on 50 pounds. And he goes to hug his mom, and he's afraid he's going to break her because she's so fragile. They had been starved to death. And then when he tried telling his mom about the experiences in the prisoner of war camps in America and how it wasn't such a bad life and how America really was and stuff, she shut him up and said, "Can't talk like that." What happened to that America? Where even our enemies loved it. Anyway, they're extreme. You want to know what what America was like back then? And it was crazy. Tom, we looked up all the Japanese in camp. What the hell are you talking about? The Japanese prisoners of war. Yeah, I realized that we had the Japanese on the West Coast had been put in internment camps. And we also had Japanese prisoners of war. Strictly cycling. Just go to memoirs of World War II. Just look that up on YouTube. Memoirs of World War II. You'll see what I mean. Okay. Just like I say, this is a part of history we never learned. I mean, strictly cycling. Do you know when the last German prisoner of war was captured in this country? Or turned himself in? When the last prisoner of war, the German prisoner of war that escaped during World War II, what year he was captured? Or he turned himself in because he finally had to tell his wife what had happened, but he had been captured in North Africa. 1982 in Hawaii. 1982, okay? There's a lot we don't know about American history. But if you read it from these people, you listen to their words, it's crazy how our country was so great that even being in a prisoner of war camp, our enemy ended up loving it. I mean, they couldn't believe families that they worked on these farms where the families would invite them in for Christmas dinner, knowing that their sons were fighting Germans. After being told Americans were just wretched people. Anyway, but this is the America we turned into. Like I said, I wanted to do my live stream tonight on Divine Opera. He just sits there and rages bats all day. See, I appreciate that too. That's okay. When the mob comes down your street, maybe you might be watching some of my live streams on what to do. Whatever. You can be blinded about what's coming. Okay, and if you don't like that little history lesson I gave you, I don't really give a shit. It's the truth. Okay? Prisoners of war were treated very humanely. One thing about the Germans they didn't understand, and they mocked America for it, was how they were allowed in restaurants and the Negro wasn't. It's not like they didn't see the flaws in America, but they saw that America was better than Europe. So anyway, technologically, all this stuff. They saw the sleeping giant that had awoken. J99, when Pelosi's husband was attacked, you left. Oh, I got to laugh about that. I'm sorry, it's a somber day, but yeah. When are we going to ever hear the truth about that? Painting party at 2 o'clock in the morning in their underwear. Who the hell believes that? Anyway, all I did is went to that story because I want to say a little bit of how the enemy used to look at America. And they said America, they were told it was a weak, indulgent country where everybody hated each other. Kind of like we are now. The way this country is now is the way the enemies told that their citizens our country was. And back then we were a country that just wanted to live our lives. We enjoyed our lives. We were living better than any other nation in the world. And, we want to keep it that way. So, blue versus red is off the chain. The cities could get a little crazy for a while. Like I said, just make sure you have exit strategies from where you're going. Definitely don't stop your car in a mob. Carry whatever you can to defend yourself. Because this is the thing, people. They are at one side's at war, and the other side's getting woke up to that we're at war. Okay? But don't worry, hey, Trump's bringing the troops to the cities. I mean, how the hell is this situation going to help that at all? But like I say, I want to see if I'm wrong about who I think it was. Like I say, I'm pretty specific, strictly psych. I hope I'm, whatever. Whatever. But this is shit that happens when everybody's just so damn angry. So angry. The division is unreal. Like I say, what was it like on September 10th, 2001? It's hard to remember. September 10th, 2001, I know where I was. Of course, everybody knows where they were living the night before things got crazy. But, I mean, the thing with me, I knew they were going to hit us. I don't know. I didn't really get excited. It's not like I went on bought ammo or thought, because I knew that wasn't going to happen. But it was like, finally, other people are waking up. I mean, after I went turned on the news after the first plane had hit, so I know what happened. But when I sat there watching the news and the second plane came in and hit, I went downstairs and woke up my wife and I said, we're under attack by the terrorists. See, I was right. I've been saying that for 7 years. Since 1994, I said they were going to get us. Just like you're guessing about me, Strictly Cycling. I'm not angry and sitting here laughing. I'm sorry, I must have missed something. Tom, yeah, I know. Guessing? I'm not guessing. I'm making an educated. If I was the police, I would be looking for a transgender college kid that he had embarrassed. And I guarantee you they are. Because it just fits the profile. Just say it. We'll see if I'm right. But if you think it's somebody that's upset about the E-list, most everybody's done got over that except a few of us, and we're still not going to shoot somebody over it, okay? I mean, what the hell has Charlie Kirk got to do with that? He's just somebody that was told to calm the mob. All right? That's what he was told to do, and he did his job. And frankly, with all the backlash I get from MAGA, it worked. Anyway, they caught him at the scene of the crime. That guy in his pants, that wasn't him. All right. Anyway, we'll see. We will see. But I don't think the guy with the pants down to his ankles, he might have been up to something else. But I don't know. Because we'll see. We'll see. The thing about all this, it's all conjecture and stuff. I'm just coming out with my hypothesis. I mean, I went to school. I learned about hypothesis, and that's what I'm just coming out with. How my mind's thinking, this is where it's going. Okay? And like you say, I'm being pretty specific. But then again, these people are all acting in the same way. It's like me going, when I play blackjack, which, casinos kick me out because I win too much. But it's like me walking the tables and seeing the table that's going to pay off. Okay? You see the same thing. And when you see it, anyway, guns are tools of the weak. Do you call them women weak? Do you call the Marines weak? No. Guns are tools of the strong. Okay? Strong-minded. The strong that can protect the weak. Okay? Guns ain't for the weak. That's obvious, especially for the weak-minded. But take the guns out of the strong, and we'll all be crushed down to being weak. Anyway. Ever wonder why all these Middle Eastern countries have black, white, red, and green flags? Do you know that the four horsemen of the book of Revelations also, nice correlation there, I guess. I mean, good way of looking at whatever. But this is a discussion on the Muslims. I already went off about them on my shorts yesterday. This is about the problem this country has. I know this wasn't no Muslim. I know it wasn't that. Okay? This is somebody that definitely hated Charlie Kirk. That I feel like you say, it's like almost a crime of passion. But we'll see. I don't know. J99, no words. I'll possibly block you since you're offended by truth. Yeah. All I know is I grew up having to hear the damn truth. They didn't care about my feelings, whether I wanted to hear it or not. Okay? And then the Marine Corps, honesty, integrity, leadership traits and principles that were, I won't say pounded into us, because that's a bad word, because we all accepted it willingly to learn that, to learn to be a good leader. But, the truth is the truth. You sit there and try to hide from the truth, you're going to live in morality, not reality. Okay? God, that transgender idiot. We live morality before reality. What kind of stupid saying is that? Because their morality's a little off the rails. And then when they got that, and they live in their reality, and then when it comes to they got to deal with our reality, the real reality, then they snap. But yep. Fuck, I can't believe YouTube put that assassin fucking short on there. I'm pissed about that. Because it's just going to, like you say, you're going to have memes now. It's just, they shouldn't have put that short on there. They shouldn't be airing that video. I mean, we all need to know, right? Well, they can take that off. The man got killed. Show him some respect. Anyway, but we'll see who the guy who did this, or the gal, or the thing, or the what, or the if, or whatever they call themselves. It could be a fucking furry dog for all we know. But what's the next step? You're in a city. Well, let's see. What would happen if black gal who just got off a pizzeria was stabbed by a white guy in the neck, and then a few days later, one of their heroes is assassinated? What would the black community do? Anybody? Anybody? Hell, cities would be burning down right now. But since we have composure and we can maintain that's not happening. But eventually that control is going to turn into organizational stuff. And people are going to start organizing. And this shit's going to stop. I mean, it's just flat out all right now to murder a white person. Just flat out murder. And then don't worry. When they catch this guy too, it'll become all the excuses of why he's the victim. It's like calling Charles Manson the victim of Helter Skelter, right? What about George Floyd? You mean that criminal piece of shit that should have been sitting in prison too? I mean, George Floyd caused his own demise. I'm sure that the cop that had his knee on his shoulder was an asshole. We have lots of asshole cops in this country. But you know what? We have a lot of asshole criminals too. My question with the George Floyd thing is they had him in the cop car. How the fuck did he get out of the cop car? To have another tussle with the cops. How? Anyway, just a question I have. You're in a cult. What's that? It was called the Marine Corps, sir. Yep. The Big Green Gun Club. Is that good enough for you? Trump supporter? No, I'm a constitutional conservative thing. And I tell you what, Prime Minister Chris, please go check out I did vote for Trump, I'll be honest with you about that. But please go check out my shorts and my content. You may find out that, remember, I believe I'm a person that got kicked in the gut. He told me that the lists don't exist. He don't need me if I believe that. It's a hoax and all that shit. So he told me he didn't. This country's in trouble. Like I say, go watch some of my content before you make a comment. You come on here for a couple minutes. I got well over 1,000 videos, content videos on. Go check them out. You may find out that it wasn't even worth putting that comment on there. I'm a constitutional conservative. Which party do you think I support? None of them. I look at the lenses, not a red one or a blue one. I look at it through both clear lenses like the founding fathers did. Race, Prime Minister Chris, do I need to get rid of you? You going to behave or do I got to get rid of you? I can delete you from my channel if I have to. Okay, you're a proud black man. Then why you call me a racist? I had plenty. I don't understand. I'm sorry. See, this Marine's willing to take a bullet so you can sit there and live a great lifestyle. You tell me that's a wrong decision? You tell me I should sit there and be mad at you because you're black? Sorry, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. I'm not stupid enough to lower my intelligence level enough to hate somebody because of their skin color. I'm not... There's so many worthy reasons to dislike somebody. Their skin color is not even an issue, okay? But I'm happy you're proud of being a black man. I'm proud of being a white guy. Is there a problem with that? All lives matter. Is there a problem with that? I do manual labor. I've worked with a lot of guys that are different colors, different nationalities, and none of us cared. Because we were all dirty, sweaty, and miserable like the other guy. See, we were all equal. And like in the Marine Corps, there was one color, green. You were either dark green or light green. That racist shit was thrown out the fucking window right away. Could you live in a world like that? This is what I'm saying. Division. Over what? Somebody who hated Charlie Kirk? Really, hate is a good... I'm done with this, okay? Things are going to get bad. Things aren't going to get better. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Until everybody realizes that we're all on this sinking ship together. And yeah, they got their useful idiots doing this shit. You ain't seeing no politicians' kids get shot or killed, do you? No politicians or politicians' family fell over from that they were that everybody else was supposed to get, or all the company employees from these companies didn't have to get it either, and they're all fine. But the American public. And then you come out and tell the truth about that, and you got to worry about your life being threatened. I really don't give a shit. I say there's only one way to silence me. Okay? I know how fucked up the world is right now. I can see it on my YouTube. I don't see it when I go outside, look out my window. Like I say, I don't even have to lock my doors, people. I can leave for 6 months and don't even have to lock my doors. How many of you can say you live like that? How many can say that you'd want to live like that? I don't deal with no illegal immigration here. There's no Muslims here in this county or this whole area because we won't accept your stupid shit. You know, you're never going to go somewhere where you're not accepted. And if America would have just kept that country that they weren't accepted, we wouldn't be having this problem right now. But people, like where I live, we don't accept that. That's not acceptable mind to think about America here. Acting goofy and retarded is not the proper way to act around here. You know, we do still have, I live it to, according to the rest of this country, I live and leave it to Beaverland. Flat out. All day long. Nice quiet neighborhoods. Everybody's lawns are mowed. Nice cultivated town. And Democrats and Republicans, it doesn't matter. I'd say it's probably 50-50 in the town. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Because we all like our peace and quiet. You know, it shows us that human beings, no matter how you think politically, you can still get along. Kids can still play together. Heck, you can even go over to the families for Thanksgiving if they didn't happen to get that. That's the type of environment I live in. And that's why I'm on YouTube, because I would like to bring the rest of the country into where I don't have to feel guilty about being the only one that feels like I'm living free anymore. So, 47 minutes already. But anyway, you don't accept it, okay, Life is what we make it. Stop relying on the government. Be self-reliant. Exactly. Our founding fathers never wanted a social service system. They never wanted it where the voter could vote on what the government could do for them. Make sure that they're safe in their life, liberty, and their pursuit of happiness, and the money supply was safe. Being self-reliant, exactly. But why do you know that, Strictly Cycling? Because of the way you grew up. When you grew up in the 60s and 70s, on a dairy farm in North Dakota, you know what self-reliance was. You know what hard work was. You know what having nothing was. And working your ass off in the cold, in the heat. Milking cows was just part of it. Then the rest of the day you spend making sure those cows, they live a better life than you did. Right? But they were the money. Then the crops. I may have grew up, 8 years after you? But it was the same for me. I didn't grow up on a dairy farm. I grew up on a poultry farm. I hated it so much that I ended up going to the neighbors and we did feeder cows. And I did field work and work for the farmers. But, you know, when I was 6 years old, our family was poor. We would sit there with the local farmers and as a family, we'd walk their bean fields and pull all the weeds. Yeah, that's what we used to do. That's what farming used to do. They have people that lined up, walked out, you take 3 rows, and you'd pull the weeds in the field as you're walking down the road. And my family would do that to make more money so we could have food on the table. But I guess that was my white privilege, huh? Getting up like you, Strictly Cycling. First grade, 4:30 in the morning, do chores, go to school all day, come home, do chores, do your homework, eat, maybe get a little couple hours on a TV that had one channel. And then you get older, get into high school, and you do all that. Plus you add sports and a job to the schedule. A job and sports. Boy, kids are so different than we were. Anyway, sad day today. We'll see who the suspect is. I'm a little hot. I had to settle down a little bit, give myself a couple hours to calm down about this. Like I say, like I said, I turned on my phone and it doesn't say nothing about Charlie Kirk getting shot, and I hit the short. And as soon as the fucking short hit, about 3 seconds into it, you see him getting shot. You don't even have time. What the hell was that? The war's on, people. And all of you in the big city are going to start feeling it long before us. By the time it gets out here, whatever. You believe in gun control? I believe in gun control too. I believe if everybody would have been carrying a gun at that thing, that some bitch would have been shot down and controlled. Oh, is that not what gun control is? Control. They'll sit there and say, flat out, gun control. And the Second Amendment says, shall not be infringed. Okay? Shall not be infringed and controlled. That's not even the same meaning. Like I say, any gun control law that was ever passed by any state, by any federal government is illegal. And frankly, with the Second Amendment, that also means that if you're rich enough, I don't believe nuclear weapons. But if you're rich enough and you got the training, you ought to be able to buy a fully armed F-15 combat radio. Then maybe we wouldn't have presidents threatening us with F-15s and Hellfire missiles. Well, I guess, see that video? I guess Hellfire missiles don't take down UFOs, though. Crazy stuff. If you haven't seen that one, watch that. Yeah, they released video of shooting a Hellfire missile, drone shooting a Hellfire missile at a supposed UFO. The government's showing this, right? And the missile hits and anyway, and the thing just keeps moving. Anyway, crazy times. But maybe we need to stop hating our neighbor. But these people, they're unhinged. They're unhinged. At least in this country, we know how to defend ourselves. Exactly. And this Marine knows how to defend themselves. This Marine knows about war. So they sit there and want to bring it to my fucking doorstep. I dealt with these Muslims. I dealt with I guess there would be their granddaddies now, who are real killers. These guys are nothing but wannabe gangsters who play Call of Duty just like our fucking kids. They're going to find out real quick about how things can go bad. What does Sigma? Yes, I'm a Sigma male. At least the country we know, yeah. And the thing is, whatever you can do to learn how to defend yourself. Everybody needs to take some sort of hand-to-hand self-defense, whether it be martial arts in some form, whether it be fighting your local veteran and learning how to do hand-to-hand combat, anything. With the women, I always suggest judo because, frankly, in martial arts, I sparred against women, and they just don't got the force to hurt a guy, especially if they're highly motivated, with their punches and kicks. It's not Hollywood. But it's good to know. But if they could sit there and learn judo to learn how to throw people and stuff, that would be different. But, anything you can learn. You don't want to become a victim of this stuff. And always have situational awareness. If you are at a gathering where you may have a controversial person there, okay, and Charlie Kirk was controversial, you need to be scanning all the time. One thing, and this is just from the military, I get out in the open, I am scanning all the time. People say when I go out in public, I walk differently. I walk more with an authoritative stride, okay? More of a, this is what you're going to deal with if you mess with me type of shit. But, that ain't going to stop a bullet, all right? Especially random. But this had to have been somebody, too, that practiced, okay? 200-yard shot, if you said strictly cycling. In the Marine Corps with the M16, we 200 yards was the shortest yard line we qualified from. It was 2, 3, 5, and 600 yards. And believe me, 600 yards trying to hit a target with that M16 is, the bullet's too light. Okay, if you had a wind, the thing is, if he used an AR-15, it depends on the sights he had. But it had to have been somebody that was little experienced. I mean, to be able to sneak on a roof like that and not be seen with all those people around. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if it was a right-wing conservative that was upset about the E-list not being released. But I just don't think so. Anyway, but Marine Corps. Is the Marine Corps you qualified? No, it was 200, 300, 500, and 600 yards. Different positions at each yard line and stuff. But yeah, and we had to qualify once a year at the range. We're required to, which was nice because that was like a week off where you spent the first, whether you were the first shooting group or the second shooting group. If you were the first, you got to do your shooting, get it done, and then you went down in the butts, and we did targets and stuff, and it lasted till about 1 o'clock, I suppose, and then we got the rest of the day off. So going to the range is always like having a week off. Prone position is strictly cycling. We never shot from 440 yards. I don't know what you're talking about. Have you ever qualified for the Marine Corps strictly cycling? Prone position was 500 and 600 yards. And also 300 yards rapid fire was the prone position. Okay? Did you know that? Anyway, we don't fire from 440 yards. But then again, they may have made it easier for them. I'm not saying they didn't do that, so I should apologize. They may have lowered the requirements like they do a lot of. But if all they go out is to 440 yards now, what do they start at, the 100-yard line? Anyway. Once again, he's too busy on his... Let's not get on strictly cycling. No, if he's got... He may be right. They may have changed it. It's been what? Last time I was on the range was over 30 years ago. A lot of things in the military has changed since then. I'm not going to say he's wrong, but that's the way we used to do it, okay? Excuse me for getting a little hot there, but if, like I say, it wouldn't surprise me if they lowered the standards to where you don't even have to go out to 500 yards now. Because if 440 yards is the prone position, and that's what they're doing, and that's as far out as they're going, so be it. I'm not in charge of the military. First general, or take charge of this post and all. What's that guy? What are you trying to get on strictly cycling? Of course I knew my general orders. To walk this post from flank to flank and don't take shit from any rank. You mean that one too? I mean, what exactly are you trying to get at? You trying to find out what my Marine Corps knowledge is still? Don't quite what you're saying. By the way, well, strictly cycling, where'd you see the 440 yards? That's beside the point. I was in the Marine Corps. You weren't. So you can think it was the way you think, whatever. That's fine. But I never qualified for 440 yards. Okay, we started an argument. See, this is the thing, people. If you don't know something, then don't say it. Now I say, well, you just sat there and made a big old thing of what this guy's going to be, that Charlie Kirk. Okay? But I'm saying I could be guessing. I'm not saying it's written in stone. But if I was an investigator, that would be one of the first leads I would go down. It's only logical. Okay, this is the thing with investigators these days. You got to follow the logical way the case is taking you, not the way your emotions want to take you. All right? So anyway, do you think things will get worse before they get better? Oh, yeah, they're going to get a lot worse. Things are going to get a lot worse. Hey, anyway, I appreciate everybody being here. If you could hit that thumbs up and subscribe and the bell notification, help this channel grow. Because like I say, I do believe it's going to get a lot worse. This stuff ain't... Do you see us stopping and singing Kumbaya tomorrow? What's going to settle our differences? Our differences just keep getting wider. The gaps between Americans just keep getting wider and broader. And then we're bringing in all this external stress. It's going to get a lot worse. You know, like I say, you could be sitting on a bus or mass transit and all of a sudden be on your phone and having to deal with an emergency situation. And then this. You know, I realize, see, this is the thing. We all know that the liberal communists have declared war on us conservatives, the Constitution, and the United States. They say themselves they want to have a revolution, and they are highly motivated and highly drugged up and not in the right minds to do it. They are at war with us. They have said this more than once. When are we going to start listening to them? I suggest you learn how to shoot from 440 yards and not in the prone position. What other positions were there? What other positions did we have to get in? You know which one sucked the worst? The kneeling position. Oh my God, that one was painful. And then standing. Okay? But anyway, just practice. I mean, you're going to go to the Appalachian Trail this next year. A lot of bad things have happened on that trail. Very dangerous place. Are you going to bring something to protect you? I should stand up and make myself a target. Yep, that makes sense. You know what? If you don't know the first thing about combat, don't even start. Have you ever been trained in tactics? If they wouldn't teach us to stand up, shoot in the standing, or teach us to shoot in the sitting position, maybe they teach us that because we might have to use it one day. But yes, the best position is to be as close to the ground as fucking possible and behind something. But you know what? Sometimes you just can't have that. Whatever. Every situation is different. I don't need to go into it. Well, don't live in fear. I don't live in fear either. You shouldn't live in fear, but you should have the ability to react to a situation if it occurs and not be fearful. A Marine reacts and thinks about what afterwards. You know, you're going to be fearful. I guess I don't know what that means. If I see somebody that's going to do harm to somebody, the first thing that's not going to come to my mind is fear for my life. I'm sorry. That's not even going to cross my mind. Putting the motherfucker down. That's what's going to cross my mind. Like I say, why should, you send me, have you ever been arrested? Why? For what? Speaking the truth? If I got to fear my government, then I know everything I say is right. And then the cause that I'm following is right. Okay? I'm not going to bend to these pieces of shit. I will not do it. My government created me, pretty much, to sit there and serve their purposes at the time when they created me. So now that we got a tyrannical government that I was created to fight, well, that's just the way it is. The average civilian would not understand. Just don't understand. Thank God. But don't worry, the time is coming where you are going to have to understand. Anyway, hey, if you like the content, please hit the thumbs up. The subscribe and the bell notification help this channel grow, because they're doing everything they can to silence me, and that's share my content. I got well over 1,000 videos of content, a lot of shorts, short to the point. Okay? I want what's best for this country, what's best for the American people. No matter what your color or nationality is. God, do you think only whites fought in the revolution? No, a lot of nationalities and colors did, because they wanted to be part of an army fighting for freedom. I appreciate that. Strictly Cycling. Smash that thumbs up for Tom. Thanks. But it's getting to be a dangerous place. Now we're going to start having high-profile assassinations. I would guarantee you we're going to have more of that. Like Tucker Carlson. Anyway, I've been on here for an hour and 7 minutes. I appreciate everybody being here. But just be careful in those big cities. Be aware. Americans walk around too much now like there's nothing to fear. Just like that Ukrainian girl just sat down in that seat, got down on her phone. Didn't know that death was right behind her. Be aware of your surroundings, because when your surroundings attack, you want to be ready. So, Two Feathers, hey, hi there. Got you finally. Why are they making it hard for you to sit there and find me too? Oh, I know. Trump will use this. Like I say, Trump is sending the military out to these cities because he's using the excuse, and I'll say as an excuse, to fight crime. So all we got is this high-profile shit going on in Charlotte, and now they're in Utah. Just giving them more reason to sit there and send more troops out. Americans refuse to get along. But anyway, don't worry. Because remember, the people that are shooting at people, the people that support them, are telling you, like the politicians saying, politicians basically inciting violence. Okay? And with all the military activity, because Trump says it's okay for the president to do that, in 3 years and 4 months, 5 months, 4 months, when we have a Democratic president again, that this mindset shit is coming from, we're all screwed, buddy. I can't wait to hear Mega cry their ass off then. Because all I know is when the next Democrat president sends troops in the street, I want MAGA to back it just like Trump's doing. But yeah, now Trump is just going to have, what did he say? We have to go after this viciously, I think was the word he used. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound like an American president should be talking about when he's talking about American cities. That we need to act viciously to the people that are there that are doing this horrible shit, because that's all they understand. Anyway, it's a crazy world, people. Crazy world. I'm not afraid to sit there and take a bullet for these assholes, but I'm not going to be an easy target like Charlie Kirk, putting himself, I mean, distance is your best way to get away from danger. But anyway, this is the world we live in these days. If you're willing to speak the truth, you may have to pay the ultimate price. And some of us just aren't afraid. We're not going to be afraid. We're going to react to cowards. That's all they are, is freaking cowards. By the way, it's Sonny. What's happening? Hey, Son, where was Sonny there? I missed Sonny, literally, with the DOD direct. Oh, yeah. Yep. Giving our country military to the right and our citizens. Oh, I know. I think you commented on when I did that video on Lone Wolf Prepper about that 5240.01, the executive order that Biden signed before the election about the ability of well, I guess it would be the Secretary of War now, wouldn't it? The Secretary of War can bring out active duty troops to our cities to maintain order. And the thing about it, there's really no stipulation on what force they can use. It never really says they can't use tanks to roll down the street or jets to come in and bomb cities. Bad time, people. Bad time. And it's just snowballing. It's not getting any better. Charlie Kirk is now dead. Like I say, because I feel he embarrassed some transgender that just couldn't deal with it. We'll see if I'm wrong. But like I say, as a cop, as an investigator, that's how I'd be investigated. Of course, we spoke about it. Yep. And those troops eventually will be replaced with AI prototypes and states that may use lethal force. Yeah. See, this is the thing. Out here where I live, they're not going to be able to bring troops in here to maintain order, okay? It'll have to be done by lethal drones to where, and if they have infrared people, it's not like Predator where, oh my God, he can't see me. No. You're given a different, everything gives out a different, anyway, I'm not going to get into night vision, but yeah, they would, or infrared, but they would see him, okay? It's almost impossible to hide from infrared. If you're underground, it's hard. But out here, that's the way it'd be. All of a sudden, I'm riding horse one day down the trail and I'm fucking history. And then they come with their cleanup crew, and I was just one of those that didn't come back after horse riding one day, and nobody knew what happened to me. Like I say, there's too much going on. It's not only the war with this liberal, insane mentality we have to go to war with, and then the racist shit that they're trying to push that we got to go to war with, but our own government that's pushing this shit. And the people that get all excited and hate each other over what their Congress people say, can't see who the enemy is. What the hell did... Anyway, we must unite as one. It's the only chance we have. Yeah. Eventually, like I say, it'll happen, strictly cycling. When the country gets so bad, and the divisions that they created amongst groups in this country, when the cracks start healing because it gets filled with all this, everybody's fucking realizes that eventually it's going to unite the people. The division they cause is going to get so bad that it's going to eventually unite the people. Because when everybody ends up at the bottom and everybody's treated the same and everybody realizes that we're all equal at the bottom, then we'll come up all together. Demons try to suppress the truth, no matter what the cost. Yep. And don't worry. When we correct all this shit, all these social media platforms, and put it this way, if you violated the Constitution and conspired with the government to overthrow the power of the people, that's treason. And it don't matter if you're a rich, or I'm not going to say rich, you're a person that has more white, green pieces of paper than I do, or you think you got more clout, it doesn't matter. You will face justice. This has got to be Nuremberg Trials 2.0. Where all the dirty, dastardly deeds need to come out. So generations in the future can be taught this stuff so it don't happen again. Sunny, spectacular, thanks. What did you see? Anyway, two feathers. The hate will wear out eventually when everybody realizes the truth, and it's a big game. Yeah, I mean, exactly. They're just playing us against each other. I mean, they get these elites and politicians and shit saying this shit, and it just creates another division. What creates another team for them to watch destroy each other. And they're yakking it up. Like I say, we need to be fighting our government. And then they wouldn't be laughing to stop this shit. But since they got us all fighting each other, destroying each other, so they can take, and they'll sit there and then just take over. And they're just sitting as a spectator watching the game they created. That's just the way I see it. I wish other people could wake up to that. But they don't. Everybody just too caught up in their differences, whether it be financial, or what color they have, or where they're from, or what they do in their house behind their door. Now, once you bring your personal life outside your front door and shove it in my face, I have every right to criticize it. But as long as you keep it behind your door and I don't know shit about it, I guess I don't have a right to criticize you about it. But if you want everybody to know how retarded you are, you're probably going to get criticized. So, anyway, it's just, once we get more truth out there, I guess, why would the government want the truth out? Like I say, in the Constitution, it says every once in a while, I hate that how they put that, the government is supposed to release to the public on how all government public funds, that would be taxes, are spent. Now, how, being $38 trillion, and see, we didn't need Doge. It says in the Constitution they're supposed to release it to us. What secrets do you think would be revealed if that happened? See, they're not following the Constitution. And this is one thing. We want to solve the problem, just make them release to the public more than what Elon Musk saw, but on our whole public money, taxes, is spent. Then the guilty would be charged, brought to trial, punished. And anyway, We live in a world of lies, people. Winston Churchill said it best, right? The truth is best protected by a bodyguard of lies. And that was during war, right? What do you think we're in now? Anyway. Yeah, I want to do a more happier live stream today about what it felt like on September 10th, 2001. But it looks like because we just want to sit there and, like I said, on September 11th, 2001, it didn't matter what color you are. It didn't matter what race you are. It didn't matter. You were an American. And 24 years later, we got this. All this division sowed by politicians. All this hatred sold by politicians. And people just fall for it. Maybe in the Marine Corps, I was taught to hate. I understood what it was like to be taught to hate. And in the civilian world, when I got out, the longer I was out, the brainwashing went away, but the knowledge didn't of how I became that person. I mean, I think back to the person that was in the Marine Corps, and well, let's hope that person don't have to come back. Anyway, we say I appreciate everybody being here. Please hit the thumbs up to subscribe and the bell notification. Help this channel grow. Pray for Charlie Kirk's family. Pray for healing in this country. If you want to help, go out to your neighbor and talk to him. Don't hate him. If you can't talk to him, wave to him and smile as he drives by. Do a good deed for somebody that you don't even know. Open a door for somebody. Anything that's positive, to get some positive vibes. And don't be afraid to sit there and tell a retard when they're being retarded. The truth is the best tool to correct somebody, not encouraging their mental illness or lie. Anyway, I saw that, Tom. I forgot what bridge I was on my first memoirs, Giant Fireball in the Sky. I was a baby. You were you're from New York? I didn't know you were from New York, Sonny. Yeah, but look at where we are now. I mean, do you saying you were young back then, Sonny? You were a baby, and now you've grown up in a country that was way different than the one I grew up in, with the Patriot Act and all this hate and division. Anyway, like I was saying, hey, Strictly Cycling, like I say, check out World War II memoirs if you want to look at some stuff that's going to blow your mind. You want to hear about what it was like in World War II on the Eastern Front for Germany? Go read the German soldiers' memoirs and learn about meth they got. And learn just, it's crazy. The memoirs, I mean, I've listened to a lot of them. And the POWs, I want that America back. I want the America back where a prisoner of war who came here, a soldier of Japan or one of Hitler's soldiers, and left with a life-changing experience. I mean, you wonder why Germany, after World War II, they think it was all the money we threw in to Germany that helped it become such a great country with the Marshall Plan? No. It was all the German POWs that went home after World War II, after being in camps in America, and realized what democracy really was and what treating your fellow citizen, fellow human being with humanity was like. And anyway, it's very interesting. Very interesting. Like I say, I'm learning history. that I never knew before. And it's great. I always like learning new stuff. But I wish it wasn't as... I wish they wouldn't have kept a lot of it from us. But all I know is when the enemy comes to this country and goes to a POW camp and they're living better than they ever had lived before, get more respect from the enemy than they ever got from in their own military, from their own officers or NCOs. Respect from the enemy, and eating just like the Americans eat. They even thought they ate better. Be able to drink Coca-Cola and have ice cream. Be able to play sports. Anyway, they experienced what they said. It was a people that were so sure of themselves that they didn't feel like they needed to dominate somebody. A people so sure of themselves that they didn't feel like they needed to dominate somebody. That goes into human character now, doesn't it? Anyway, sad day. We'll see what tomorrow brings. We need to unite people. When people don't realize that they don't have support for doing this shit, it'll go away too. But you're going to have plenty of people on social media that be, yeah, I hated him. They make me sick. Yep, in living witness to the change of the world. I was born in New York, and that's always my roots. Got a few... Not, but New York will always be my... I don't understand what that means. That must be some New York. I tell you, did I ever tell you about my story of New York? Strictly Cycling's, I know, heard it. About when I had to go pick that sergeant up from the airport. And I got lost. And it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I pulled off, I think it was a Brooklyn Bridge, whatever road that what bridge the road goes there, all the airports are on, and I pull off the exit just before I went across that bridge a couple times. I pull off that exit. Bunch of black guys standing on the corner, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and say, how the hell, I can't remember, I think it was LaGuardia I had to go to. Now, how the hell do I get to this airport? Maybe with JFK. But anyway, and they probably looked at me like, say, that white man looks stressed. Well, they were the nicest, politest guys. You know, some people had said that was crazy. But like I said, I was a little upset because I couldn't find where I was going. So, you know, I don't fear. Fear is a terrible feeling to have. You know, especially people where it controls it. When it's time to act, fear will get you killed. Like I say, think about it afterwards. React and do what needs to be done. Anyway, hi Pat, glad that you joined us. Like I say, I like everybody being here. Please hit that thumbs up to subscribe and the bell notification. Help this channel grow. Get a little bit more popular. Get some more truth out there. Like I say, I got even my moderators are wondering if that I'm trying to sit there and go to jail. No. But you know what? I don't like the enemy, and I'm willing to speak my mind to him. That's one thing they taught me in the Marine Corps, too. So anyway. But it's been an hour and a half. I'm going to get off of here. But it's a sad day. This shows the state this country's in. And it's just going to get worse. And you guys in the big city are going to feel it first. And remember what Trump said. Vicious. It's coming. I hope everybody Strictly Cycling, Sunny, Amanda, J99, Two Feathers. Are you out here in the sticks like me, Two Feathers? Where we're just kind of watching all this go down, feeling we can't do nothing? I mean, Not that we can't do nothing about it, but like I say, we're on the outside looking in. And I'm trying to scream on YouTube. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you people? Can't see what's going on? But they're, like I say, I'm trying to open the cage they're in. I've opened it up and said, come out here by me. And they're like, oh, no. I can't. If I do that, I may have to. They may come and get me. I can't. Everybody's freaked out, afraid, scared to come out of their freaking cage, the door of freedom, because they may be responsible for themselves. And no longer can they yell help and somebody's going to be there. That's the price of freedom, everybody. You're free to succeed or fail. But if you fail, it should just eventually lead to you figuring out how to succeed. And success is not having the most green pieces of paper in your pocket. There's lots of other more fulfilling ways to succeed. Okay? Money makes your life more convenient. Okay? That's it. Doesn't make it any more happy. I think it actually makes people less happy. You know why? Because we sure have a lot of powerful elites that are rich as hell doing some awful things to younger people because they're happy. It's a crazy world, people. So I'll pray for Charlie Kirk and his family. Just goes to show you the war is on. Always be prepared to react. You have to be like that squad that's out there doing a patrol along the perimeter, watchful of everything. If you don't want to carry a firearm, that's fine. But make sure you can react and you know the exits immediately. Okay? Because eventually, if you see enough, you will pick up a firearm. And you will say, it's time to do something about this crazy ass shit. You know, Americans obviously haven't been pushed far enough yet. But it's coming, everybody. It's coming. Anyway, it's time consuming to be poor. I know, time consuming. I love it. I mean, I'm going to do a video once. I brought a guy out here. I mean, I mow 3.5 acres for sure with a push mower. I split my wood with a maul. I can split wood faster than a wood splitter. But then again, my maul's a monster. Okay? I shovel with a shovel. You know, I love riding horse. I'm in a hurry to get things done. Oh, I rush till life's no fun. I don't do that. I slow down so life is enjoyable. I like the simple, humble life. Just, it fits me, but it doesn't fit everybody. Like I say, any woman wants to come home with me, right? We walk into my porch and she sees that Ringer washer from the 1950s that I wash my clothes in. She'll probably turn around and walk the other direction. That's fine. Because the right woman will keep walking and then walk into my house and see the electric stove from the 1950s. And I plan on going back further, not upgrade. Keep your head on a swivel. Be aware. Exactly. Especially in the big cities. Don't become a victim. Don't become an easy target. Okay? And also, if you have the ability, protect your fellow citizen. Okay? Anyway. That's all I got for today. Terrible thing, but it's just going to get worse. And, you know, the people that are pushing this shit, they ain't going to let up because they're happy to see this. They're going to double down and try to get people that are unstable to even act more. But anyway. And then, like I say, we'll see Like I say, Sunny Sports and Two Feathers, on my prediction, if I was a cop and I was investigating this crime, since this guy got away, or did they catch him yet? And I would say it wasn't the guy who had his pants down to his ankles. I don't even want to know why some guy out of college had his pants down to his ankles, but that ain't the guy. I say it's going to be some transgender college kid that Charlie Kirk embarrassed at one of his events. I'm going to be that freaking specific. Because if I was a cop, that's how I'd be investigating it. We'll see. But anyway. So I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk when he sat there and was told by the Trump administration to call MAGA about the E-list that didn't exist. Okay, I didn't agree with him at all. I thought he was a sellout. But he still confronted the evil in this country in other ways. So, anyway, like I say, I'm not going to stop speaking the truth. I'm not going to stop pissing him off. I mean, you notice my shorts yesterday I'd made about bacon, supporting the British people, bacon, Charlotte's Web. Yeah, because it's my right. Because those people want to destroy us. It's their religious, how would you say it? Their religious duty to kill us. So, like I say, check them out. Check out my shorts. I don't care if you don't like them. I'm in my country and I'm allowed to say it. And if the British government doesn't like what I have to say about bacon, fuck you guys. At least now the British citizen knows what the American colonists felt like. Okay? So it's time to have your revolution, people, just like we did. No more, what was it, King Richard with the Magna Carta at the end of the sword? No. You tried that once, and it didn't work. You need to take the next step. Anyway, this is Tom with the Hidden Truths channel. Like I say, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe and bell notification, and share my content. Check out my content because you'll like it. And I'm not afraid to say what needs to be said. The government's supposed to be afraid of me. And normally the way our government was supposed to be set up, if I would have been on YouTube and other people would have been on YouTube saying this stuff, the government would have feared us and changed, okay? Changed their ways. But since we're supposed to, when the government fears the government serves the people. When the people fear the government serves itself. All you guys want to feel fear from the FBI? Go for it. They're controlling your lives. That's all I got to say. Anyway, I'll die on my feet all day long before I'll take a knee to anybody but God. Anyway, that's all I have for tonight. Something we have to soak in, all the information that's going to come out. I'm sure I'll do my live stream on this incident tomorrow. Or make a video for sure. But this fucking sucks. We're at war, people. We're at war. Americans want to know what a war zone is going to be like. Well, Charlie Kirk just found out. Anyway. Bullshit. Why don't you freaking pussies? You pussies! Come after us real Americans. Us vets. People that will destroy your ass. I'm still ready for that coward liberal to stand up to me. Even through the pandemic, in Minnesota, I couldn't get one of the cowards to stand up to me. Anyway. That's all I got for tonight. Yeah, I'm pissed. Time to sit there and band together, people. Okay? Okay, like I say, now the government's going to come down viciously. What the hell does that mean? Anyway, I guess we'll find out. Anyway, everybody, let's get through these next couple days. Anyway, they'll be celebrating. It's going to be hard to stomach. But that's just the devil dancing with his little minions, dancing around their little evil fire, thinking they actually achieved something, well, good according to their standards. Remember, evil will be called good, and good will be called evil. Sounds like the times we're living in to me. Anyway, everybody try to have a great evening. This is Tom with the Hidden Truth Channel. I'm out of here.